Hey guys, today is Wednesday, September the 27th of 2023, and I want to go over natural gas with a little more detail in regards to some technical analysis. So without any further delay, let's get into it. I've been getting some requests in regards to natural gas. What's going on? What's the seasonality, the cycles, all this. So I'm going to hit it for you, rapid fire. We'll start off with the weekly spectrum cycle analysis. We know that this is the weekly and that the weekly is up and it hits a peak on somewhere around October 14th of 2024. Let's look at the daily to see what's cooking there. Okay, so this is the daily, and I think in my last video, I might have said something that I shouldn't have said. So I'm doing this video so we could be all clear and be on the same page. So the daily hit a peak somewhere around August 11th. And now this cycle on the daily is down to December 2023. It could fluctuate, but as of right now, it's December 28th of 2023, and then this cycle goes up. So, nat gas could just continue consolidating here, or it could kind of pull back using this technique. Not that this is going to happen. I'm just showing you the different techniques and the way I look at the markets and just kind of make a better guess and, decision making with all the data. But this is what the daily cycle. So this is bearish. This is not helping us to go up. The daily cycle is down. However, the weekly cycle is up. So, things are going to fluctuate back and forth. Not everything is always going to go, to the moon like the Bitcoin crew. It's all going to just kind of go back and forth, and you're dealing with time. And, one theory is how, the further it collapsed and went down, it must, consolidate in regards to time also. So these are different things, and this cycle now is down. So this is giving us opportunity. We've been consolidating since April. But look at this move that we'd had from 1002, So this move should be equal to time right here, price and time. And, it probably could happen somewhere, it could happen anytime here. But the cycle, looking at this technique, is telling us that we bottom out somewhere around December. Is it going to just continue going sideways or dip lower and go sideways and then go up? We don't know yet. We just know that when we get to December, somewhere around there, things are going to be more positive because you're going to have already the weekly cycles up, and now you're going to have the daily cycles together in conjunction. So that's more bullish and more, it'll give you like a better conviction. Like, okay, I got two cycles of two time frames that are up. So we have to see once we get, January, what's going to happen there. But so far, this is what's happening on the daily, and you just have to be aware of that. It may happen, nothing may happen. It may just ignore it, like I've seen it also with data, and just continue doing what it's doing and ignore the daily cycle. But this is something you just have to be aware of and know using this technique of spectrum cycle analysis. Okay, so this is the seasonality. Now, this is totally different from cycles, spectrum cycle analysis. This is just seasonality of what nat gas does in percent of months, in which it closed higher than it opened from 2000. Well, this is the 20-year. I was like starting with the 5-year. So this is totally different. As you can see, we have no data for December, but using 5 years, you can see that normally August is the strongest, and then it kind of steps downward down to November. So now looking at that, October's coming up. You can see that using a 5-year, October is kind of flat. I'm focusing on October now because we're just looking at, things a little more fractal. Using 10 years, October's a little weaker. And then November gets this nice little bump. As you can see that August was the strongest. Using the 15-year, and these are years that I use of Gann, 5, 10, 15, 20. I mean, you could go, 14, 13, whatever, but I've built a system of using what Gann's numbers and the way his mindset and the way he analyzes the market. I kind of stick to all these numbers. That's why it's like, it's ingrained in my mind. So 10 years, we go to 15. And you can see that August is pretty strong. September is strong. October is strong. Interesting. Look at that. Within a 15-year. And then November is flat. And then you can see that December is weaker. And then the max you could go is 20. You can see that August was a little weaker. September's, I mean, not August, is a little stronger than 50%. 60 in October is the strongest. So remember, we're focusing on October next month. So October is stronger on a 20 year. On a 15 year, it's strong. So it gets 2 points. On a 10 year, it's a little weaker, kind of flat to weaker. And then on a 5 year, it's flat. So those are the statistics in regards to seasonality for nat gas on October. Okay, so this is a seasonality chart that I also use. And you can see this is the 5 year. And on the 5 year average, in regards to seasonality, it hits a peak somewhere around September 25th, and then it kind of pulls back. You get these bounces and oscillations until October the 17th, and that's when things start ripping into the midpoint of October, and it looks like it starts getting a rally into November. So that's what is showing for the 5 year average. We had the 10 year, you can see that it hits a peak somewhere around September 25th, kind of pulls back to the first week of October, just kind of choppy, and then it, digs deeper until October, you could say 17, 18, and then it kind of follows the 5 year. You had the 15, kind of the same thing, roughly around September 25th. And this one doesn't pull back as much, so it's kind of just oscillating, and then around October the 16th, it gets a nice little pop to the upside. So anywhere between the 16, 17, I'm going to be showing you some other things that I'm watching that is kind of making sense of what's going on here. What I call is like the cluster effect, where things are just all kind of lining up here. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get to make it in this video because I got to, do some different things here. But this is what's showing for October. So if we kind of go sideways or get a pullback, that's going to be normal. Because eventually, if this plays out with the seasonality, you could get this little pop, whatever the data is or whatever the reason is. So it's going to be super cold. I don't know what could cause this in regards to seasonality, but somewhere around October in the midpoint, this could probably happen. So these are the commitments of trader report, and I like to watch commercial and large speculators leaning more on what the commercial are doing, just to get an understanding. And you can see that we're pretty much range bound. We're at 75,000 and change. There's a high of 92,000 and change. There's a low of 66,000 and change and 55,000 and change. In order to probably see natural gas continue grinding higher, we need to see commercial hedging, and it needs to go lower. And so far, we're kind of range bound since you could say probably maybe August 14 to August 28. It's kind of smack in the middle. We haven't taken out the high, but we haven't really taken out that low. But once we take out this low and take out that low, the probability of natural gas edging higher are greater, but so far it's not showing that. As you can see, large speculators are around 93 and change, and we need to take out this high, 95 and 86. So far we're here. So in order for us to push higher, we need to take out 86 and 95, and we're close. We're 93. But keep an eye on commercial, because these are the ones that will give you the better clue. Sometimes large speculators, get caught off guard too, but this is the big money right here. Okay, so this is the last chart I'm going to show you. As you can see, we got this nice pop, change of contract. It's below the point of control, which is good. As you can see, this is a lot of resistance up here. Big seller. You can tell by I put the bear camp. Just stretch this out a little more. We're going to be penetrating that again. This is all support. So let's see what's going to happen. From what that there could be a possible pullback that could probably play out, because you know what? We need to fill this gap. Let's go into our indicators. We got a PPS buy signal now on the monthly, which we haven't had that in a long time. You can see all this, and if we did, it kind of disappeared because of the price fluctuation. So it's positive here. Now we have a positive here, indicating that you will wait for a pullback. That's how the creator of this indicator is. You'll like get a signal here. You wait for a pullback. You buy. Typically, it shouldn't go deeper than the signal, but this one went there, so you probably would have got stopped out. But in theory, it gets a pullback, and then you buy, put your stop below on the other candle or 3 candles, depending how much risk you want to take. But nonetheless, it's positive here. You've been holding the point of control on the weekly, which is 262, and just kind of oscillating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And now you get this nice little pop. Looks like the MACD just turned positive with this change of contract. So let's see how that's going to play out. But that's better than staying negative, because I thought this was just going to continue getting weaker, consolidating, getting weaker, and just pull back. But so far now, it's showing some strength here with this change of contract and price action. And you're out of the cloud, which is good, but you hit the linear regression channel on the top. So it's getting very toppy over here, but it doesn't mean anything. It could probably continue going high and maybe want to test this 3010, but also could also pull back and fill the gap and go down to like October 17, 18 in regards to seasonality, and then get this strength into November. So there's a lot of things, moving parts that you need to be aware of and watch. The daily MACD is also positive. So let's see how that's going to play out for this week. Let's look at our midpoint chart. So you're above 271, which is positive. What concerns me is the gap. This eventually, they say in theory, needs to get filled. So if that's going to play out, then this could probably be your last leg up. Kind of go sideways into October 17th, 22, 25, and then pop into November. That's kind of like what I'm looking at in my mind. As you can see, the change of contract here. If it's going to want to push and hit stops, then it's going to be targeting 302 again. You're above the weekly. If there's going to be any resistance, will be the 294. You're already at 292 and 301, which makes sense. You're like 1 penny off 302 high up here. So if it's going to continue, once it gets there, it wouldn't surprise you if it just pulls right back to fill in that gap and possibly play out the October weakness play. Or, like I said, the 20 and the 15 year, the October was pretty strong. So it could go either way, but I'm just kind of giving you the scenarios. And on the daily, you're already past, the extensions. Let's look at our trend lines, because I don't know if I had trend lines here. Trend lines. Yeah, so you blew right all through those trend lines. Yeah, you're above the 1 by 1 on the first impulse. Yep. So far is chucking along right here. Let's see how far it wants to go. Well, I gave you a lot of information for you to digest and, get a game plan. So you decide what's best for you in your trading plan. But so far, this is what's happening. This is what my thoughts are. Hopefully you like this video, and I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on natural gas.